are looking at moving. The best time to find a job is when you have a job. The second best time to look for employment is shortly after you're unemployed. The longer you're unemployed, it becomes more difficult in finding that good employment opportunity. Search for employment or your search for training from within the group of the group. We try and minimize them. Service will be available for those individuals. So what else? We've talked to both Stan and Sam a little bit about this liaison work.
I know that Two Harbors will be one of the locations. I know that they need some sort of wilderness look.
It was so gratifying to see someone so thrilled. I had never seen a director so excited about a location. They had just come from Montana where they thought they would probably be making the film. But to see someone appreciate all the things certainly that we all love about Duluth and the looks of the city, that basically the next day they decided they were going to go up to Canada and they decided that they were going to spend.
The owner of this truck probably wishes he could head back to Texas and leave the icy roads of Minnesota far behind. Instead, his vehicle is among the many collision victims waiting to be repaired. Local body shop owner Mike Ojard says the list is long.
We'll probably, out of this storm, we'll probably see 25 jobs.
And those jobs come from motorists like this one that were sent skidding and sliding and finally crashing at the bottom of Duluth Hills during yesterday's freezing rain. For some, damages range in the thousands of dollars. For Ken Charnot, bad weather gave his new towing business a much-needed lift. But he says through it all, his customers kept a good attitude.
A lot of people are shaken up, but I think because of the natural elements here in Duluth, they're all pretty used to it. It's the first time of the year thing, and they're just not ready for it.
Russ Wolf, a claims adjuster, says what people may not be ready for is even if they avoided an accident, they could end up footing part of the bill.
The odds are that if you turn a claim in, it affects your premiums. It affects all of our premiums. You know, we all are paying premiums based on the amount paid out from insurance companies for damages.
On a lighter note, fortunately for Northlanders, damages did not include any serious injuries. In Duluth, Amy Rutledge, News 6.
If you could tell me, what is your reaction to the verdict?
Well, I'm very pleased with the verdicts in the case. We knew going in that the first-degree murder charge was very tough to prove. I think the jurors paid real close attention to the verdict, and we're very happy with their verdicts.
Drop the hit there. The oxygen. Take a nice bit of
They may look like any other stretch of land, but in fact many lakes in the Northland are caverns waiting to suck unsuspecting motorists in.
So we're strongly recommending that nobody drives any vehicles on the ice at all, and that if they're going to walk out, that they check the ice depth every day as they go, because the ice depth is changing fairly rapidly. Until we see some good below zero weather, we're going to have to be real cautious.
Cautious because there's no consistency in ice depths anywhere, a fact that many sledders are quickly finding out this year. A trip through the ice will not only slap your heart into cardiac arrest, it'll send some pretty major shockwaves to your wallet as well. Combine the fines from the DNR and the bill from a towing company, and you'll be hurting in some pretty sensitive places.
Just going through the ice a little bit, $100 to $5,000, $6,000.
Scotty Toland, co-owner of Scotty's Towing, is one of the guys who will profit when your precious possession is sitting at the bottom of the murky depths. His words of wisdom?
The snowmobiles, I don't know what we've got problems with is these people that are out there water skipping, and they're dropping through the water like you wouldn't believe. They just don't make it all the way across and fall through. If you don't know what you're doing, just don't go out there.
Because while tooling around on the ice may look like a lot of fun, climbing your way out is not. As for your car or snowmobile, well, Scotty's always waiting to beam them up. In Duluth, Heather Filkins, News 6.
I'm in a position where I'm very happy in the U.S. House of Representatives and in a very good position in the House, and I'd have to give up an awful lot to run for the Senate.
Has it really crossed your mind, huh?
It has, but...
Gunfire rang out early today on the Mall of America's East parking ramp. Bloomington police were on routine patrol at the time.
He heard shots fired, proceeded immediately to the area where he heard them coming from, and saw a person tucking a gun in his pocket, ordered the person to spread eagle on the ground and arrested him.
Police Chief Bob Lutz says the gunman here turned out to be off-duty Minneapolis officer Darren Waletsky. Lutz says Waletsky had earlier been kicked out of a mall bar for being intoxicated. The incident here and a handful of others has some mall security officers fearing for their safety. They talked on the condition we shade their faces and alter their voices.
We have nothing to protect ourselves, basically, besides our fists, and if someone has a weapon, our fists aren't going to do any good.
Mall security officers carry only handcuffs and flashlights. Some think they need more.
A mace or a baton or maybe a stun gun, anything that we could try to protect ourselves and any of the guests that are out there.
Security officers had earlier written letters saying in part something needs to be done to ensure our safety. And a letter from a security supervisor supported the mall, helping officers to buy bulletproof vests. But the head of security says no.
Although they have this concern, we need to be realistic about the actual conditions here. We think we have a very safe environment here at Mall of America.
Keith Davison says there's been only a handful of weapons incidents out of some 25,000 calls for help. Well, what happened at this parking ramp early today and other incidents has some security officers worried.
I think it's only a matter of time before either one of the security staff is hopefully only injured or worse. But it's going to happen sooner or later.
And what's Bloomington's police chief think about all of this? Bob Lutz thinks mall security officers are doing a good job. And he doesn't think they need to arm themselves with mace, batons, or whatever. And he says if the handful of incidents here have unnerved some security officers, maybe they should consider selling shoes. In Bloomington, Bernie Grace, K11 News.
She crashed. She was practicing her flying. That's why her antlers aren't there. She was learning how to do that and got so excited she flew into the trees and broke them off.
I see it as an expanding sport, but I think we as snowmobilers have to be responsible and take care of the sport and try and project a positive image to the public and ride safely on the trails.
He's in an interesting position, really. In some ways.
Here's why we couldn't move it.
But today the means to get involved is not there. They have no way except twice in every 4 years, once when you vote for the House, once when you vote for a senator. That's the only way you can show your displeasure, because otherwise you have no power over them at all.
The fire started with flying out of the wire line, and the heat got into some of the insulation and material in the back of the or around the building, and that caught a flame.
These kids all have one thing in common. They're being raised by their grandparents, each for a different reason. But no matter what the circumstances, the holidays are tough. especially when shared custody is involved.
It's hard on a lot of them. Some of them are hoping to have them for Christmas and get custody for Christmas. Others will have to share the holidays.
Jessie Taylor has been taking care of her grandson Patrick since he was an infant. She thought her situation was unique, but later found out otherwise and formed a support group called ROCK, Raising Our Children's Kids. Christmas parties like this one are just one of the benefits. Moral support is another.
They've been a lot of support for us, and I don't know what we would have done without Jessie to help me.
For Diane Sukala and grandson Tony, this is all very new.
Be our first Christmas and Tony's first Christmas without his mother. And Tony's mother has been missing since May.
Her hopes for the season?
I would like to see us get full custody of our grandson and our granddaughter. That's my wish for the new year.
In Duluth, Janine Johnson, News 6.
Unused production capability. Rouge Steel has and continues to fully support the operation. Rouge pellet consumption will not allow us...
is here as well, and they'll be part of the representative baggage is here. He'll always be representative baggage.
We think it's important that the major shareholders of the company realize the failed management record of Tom Graham, the failed strategies that he brought to other steel companies over the last 15 years, and that we don't want Armco ruined the way Tom Graham ruined LTV, Jones & Laughlin, and lastly, USX.
To 4 million tons annually. This is in direct production cost and reduced pellet requirements by the steel industry. To begin, the circumstances surrounding Armco Steel's purchase of...
That's one thing about a volunteer. He's always going to a neighbor's house. It's people downtown. They can go back and say, well, it was just an address. To us, it's a neighbor. It's a friend. It's hard.
Pike pole? Need a pike pole?
To be a part of this important project. This project, our second major one in the downtown, where they were open, we await us there.
1992 has come and gone now, and it's time to pick your New Year's resolution. If you're like many Americans who have eaten just a little too much this last week, you may decide to lose a couple of pounds in 1993. According to the New Direction Program Director Pam Solberg-Tapper, there is good reason.
Well, oftentimes with all the celebrating and all the parties and all the goings-on that happens during the holiday season, people put on some pounds. And by starting with the new year, they like to start with a clean slate. And
there are many ways a person can lose weight, by changing your eating behavior or exercising, but one way to do both is by enlisting in a weight loss program.
You get support from other members in programs, you get support from staff, and you also have that accountability that you have to go weigh in each week or bi-weekly or whatever, and it kind of keeps you on the straight and narrow.
When you are looking for a weight loss program, there are many things you should investigate. How much does the program cost? Who teaches the program, and what are their credentials? Is it safe? What is the success rate? By following these guidelines, you should be on your way to a fit 1993. In Duluth, Janine Johnson, News 6.